Well, as I just mentioned, Donald Trump has announced a historic takeover of Washington, D.C., deploying about 800 National Guard troops to bolster policing. He says it's part of a plan to rescue America's capital city from crime and homelessness. Here is what he said.
I'm announcing a historic action to rescue our nation's capital from crime, bloodshed, bedlam, and squalor, and worse. This is Liberation Day in D.C., and we're going to take our capital back.
US Attorney General Pam Bondi said that the Trump administration would use every power at their disposal to restore law and order.
Let me be crystal clear. Crime in D.C. is ending and ending today. We are going to use every power we have to fight criminals here. President, thank you for caring about our capital. No more crime rampant in our beautiful capital.
Joining me now for more on this is comedian and host of Prime Time with Alex Stein on Blaze TV, Alex Stein himself. Alex, good to catch up. Thanks for joining me. Is this a good move, and can the administration actually pull it off?
Well, it is going to be a tough challenge when it comes to, getting rid of all the crime in D.C. because they have a unique situation where it is just there's basically no middle class. It's the ultra wealthy and basically people that are homeless. And so it's created this kind of ecosystem where people need drugs in that area. So they come from Baltimore, they come from Virginia, they come from West Virginia, they come from all areas to go and commit crime in Washington, D.C. because it's one of the biggest tourist spots in the world. And there's a lot of affluent people. So there's a lot of targets. So it is going to be a tough task to stop criminals from committing crime, basically an impossible task. But anything is better than the current situation that is going on in D.C. It is truly a dangerous place. And I'm not just being hyperbolic when I say that.
Oh, look, no, you raise a good point. And I've got to say, Alex, that the lefties, they're in a complete spin over this. They're having a meltdown, saying it's part of a civil war. But have they actually looked at the crime situation? It's so bad, you can't even wear a backpack into the supermarket anymore under the rules. Have a look.
Starting today at 12 giant grocery stores in D.C. and Maryland, if you have a bag over 14 inches, you cannot take it inside the store. So what does that look like? Here's a backpack, 14 inches. This one can't go in. Also, if you're under 18 years old, you cannot go into the store after 6 p.m. without an adult.
Alex, yet the left will tell you that this is undemocratic.
I see them constantly arguing during COVID, every person on the left wanted to wear a mask, but now in D.C., which is obviously a traditionally liberal place, now you can't go into a store wearing a mask because they think you're going to rob the place. So maybe that's why they're mad, because they can't wear their COVID masks around. So this is a serious problem. That's why you can't take a big backpack into a store, because people are stuffing it with junk and, running out of the store. So I think the left are these crazy, loony leftists that actually are cheering for crime, that don't want Donald Trump to make it safer. They've really lost the plot. And I don't think they are really in tune with the struggles of other Americans that we go through every day.
No, they live in some sort of weird, delusional realm. It's crazy. Now, look, the president has lashed out at former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, posting on Truth Social. He said, "Crooked Nancy Pelosi and her very interesting husband beat every hedge fund in 2024. In other words, these two very average minds beat all of the super geniuses on Wall Street, thousands of them. It's all inside information." Nancy Pelosi, of course, is denying all these accusations of insider trading, but here was her reaction when CNN brought it up during an interview.
Nancy Pelosi became rich.
Why do you have to read that? We're here to talk about the 60th anniversary of Medicaid. That's what I agreed to come to talk about.
Yeah, but I wanted
what that means in the election.
I wanted to give you a chance just to respond. He accused you of insider trading. What's your response to that?
That's ridiculous.
Oh, dear, Alex, it was a no comment. Didn't want to talk about it from Nancy. It's a no. What do you make of this?
Well, she looked guilty as can be. And then in that clip right after, she blames it on her husband. I mean, it's impossible that she is a better stock trader than all of the hedge funds on Wall Street. I mean, it's mathematically impossible. So it's obvious that she is in meetings and getting information that companies are getting government deals. So it doesn't make it that difficult for her to actually have this sort of record when it comes to her stock market picks, because she has inside information. And when you're making less than $200,000 and you're worth hundreds of millions of dollars, it doesn't add up. So I would like it if we made laws that were more strict when it comes to politicians and stock trading, because that's the problem, is they get into power and the power. They go in there with the best intentions, but as soon as they get power, they get corrupted, and they look at every avenue like stock trading or, selling out their constituents to the military industrial complex. It doesn't matter. All these politicians get in with the best intentions, and the power corrupts them all.
Yeah, you're spot on. And I feel like she just made it completely worse by trying to deflect, by trying to duck and weave. If you really were not guilty, why wouldn't you just make a comment when asked about it and just be upfront? But she made herself look even more ridiculous. So the joke is really on her. Now, US Vice President JD Vance wants Elon Musk to return to the White House, suggesting it was a mistake for Musk to distance himself from the US president in the first place. This is a bit of what he said.
My argument to Elon is, like, you're not going to be on the left. Right, even if you wanted to be, and he doesn't, they're not going to have you back. That ship has sailed, and so I really think it's a mistake for him to try to break from the president. So my hope is that by the time of the midterms, he's kind of come back in fold. But yeah, I don't know that he would take my call right now about anything.
So Alex, Elon Musk isn't taking JD Vance's calls, but do you think that he should indeed return to the White House? I don't know about you, but I thought the bromance was cute while it lasted.
I mean, I agree 100%. I love seeing Elon wearing the MAGA hat in the White House with his son. Going back, it almost feels like nostalgia. It makes you feel warm and fuzzy inside. But what it spiraled into is Epstein allegations and pure hatred from two billionaires. So unless they can check their egos, which I think Donald Trump probably could, and I think Elon Musk probably could. So I hope JD Vance can actually potentially mend the fences, but in reality, I think these midterms are going to be very bad. We're not going to like the outcome, especially after, Donald Trump has done a lot of great things, during his presidency, but this Epstein stuff has been an absolute fiasco. And I think it really could negatively hurt the conservatives and Republicans in the upcoming midterm. So JD Vance saying that, it's kind of like he's waving the white flag in a good way. It's like, listen, he doesn't want to fight with Elon Musk. We need to team up with Elon Musk because the left doesn't care about Elon Musk. And at least the right, he might not align with it 100%, but ideologically, he aligns with the right a lot more than he aligns with the left. So Elon, come on back. JD and Donald Trump will have no hard feelings. And let's try to make America great again, as they say.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was great when Elon Musk was out there with his quirky behaviour. I liked when they were all together. So, yeah, get the band back together, I say. I agree. Now, look, comedian Bill Maher claims left-wing censorship died after the Democrats' loss in 2024, saying the defeat created a vibe change. Here he was on Drew Barrymore's podcast. Have a look at this.
It's slightly less dangerous than it was 2 years ago because we did have a vibe change. And because the Democrats lost so badly in 2024, the blush is off the rose on left-wing censorship. And, oh, my God, you can't say that. Stop telling me what I can do.
Well, Alex, firstly, Drew Barrymore, she sits so close to everyone, doesn't she? Her space invading is frightening. But what do you make of Bill Maher's comments there?
Well, I think he is accurate. There was a vibe shift 2 years ago, but just the audacity of Drew Barrymore to try to act like she is getting censored by the Trump administration when it was always the left that constantly canceled people, canceled athletes on draft night for tweeting a bad word when they were 15 years old, canceled people, got people fired from their jobs for, having an emotional outburst. It was the left that constantly canceled people for speech when her whole job is to talk. And under any administration, she will be able to speak freely more under Donald Trump than any previous administration. So it just shows you that, once again, she's another rich multimillionaire, great actress. I'll give her that. Drew Barrymore is a classically, well-known, famous A-list actress, but she has no idea about politics and she has no idea what the everyday average American struggles with. So, that just shows you she's worried about the vibe shift now. This is the only time in my lifetime where I've been able to speak freely and not worried about constantly getting canceled.
Yeah, a good point. Before we let you go, what do you make of, you've got Bill Maher coming out saying this yesterday. Jimmy Kimmel was critical of the Democrats. We're talking lefties, Democrat voters who were so hateful and spiteful towards Donald Trump now suddenly having some sort of come to Jesus moment. What do you reckon?
Well, it is that come to Jesus moment. I like that description because they're realizing that most people aren't on the far right. Most people aren't on the far left. Most people are somewhere in the middle. And we want to be able to speak freely. And we don't want to cancel people. And I think, South Park right now has been going after Trump, but they're getting great ratings. And the right, we don't care when they make fun of Donald Trump. We're not as sensitive as the left. And I think comedians like Colbert and Jimmy Kimmel are seeing that, hey, they actually have a sense of humor on the right. Maybe we should actually change our content to appeal to all Americans and not just half of the country. And that's why Stephen Colbert's show is gone. That's why Howard Stern's show is going to be gone. It's because they only appeal to half of the American population instead of trying to appeal to everyone. So I think this is a big wake-up call, and the vibe is shifting, and people are allowed to speak more freely and unapologetically in America in 2025.
Well, it is about time. Seriously. Alex Stein, great to catch up with you. Thanks so much for joining me on the show.
It's always a pleasure. Thank you guys for having me.